My dad passed away from cancer back in 2015. If God is as good as he says, why do bad things happen then?
What do you personally think about God?
Whew. So I was born and raised in a Catholic family. Now, do I actually believe in God? That's tough. My dad passed away from cancer back in 2015. Never smoked a day in his life, didn't drink, and he had lung cancer, which I found extremely bizarre. And
Interesting.
you do a lot of praying and praying and praying and praying, but it's crazy to me to think like, people who are innocent just go to work, care about their family,
Mm,
will get their life taken, but then these people who are, rapists, child molesters,
yeah.
yada yada yada, their lives are spared and not taken. So I don't know. I definitely
Mm,
believe in a higher power, but I don't know. I kind of lost a little faith in God after all that happened,
yeah.
especially in today's day and age where we're kind of like portraying more, murderers and evil people like the Dahmer series that Netflix did and the Ted Bundy series that Netflix did and then the John
Yeah.
Wayne Gacy series. Like we're exposing all this to people and letting them know like, hey, these people are evil and you get to learn about it. But like if there was a God, I would truly believe that he would protect everybody from evil. And if that were the case, he
Mm,
would have protected all 32 of Gacy's victims, all 17 of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims, and all the
mm.
women that Ted Bundy killed,
Yeah, I can understand the, I don't know if frustration's the right word, but just like the God, where were you? I can understand that perspective. And so put my life
Do you
right
believe
now.
in God?
I do, yeah. I would say it's the most important part of my life.
I definitely say that I lost some faith in God. I still think there is a higher power, and I would hope that if there truly is a God and a divine God, divine being, that he would guide everybody and help everybody in every way, shape, or form that they would need it.
Yeah, so there's one thing that you said that kind of like sparked in my mind. It was that like how could like all these people who are horrible people kind of be glorified in this world and get all these things and be praised and stuff like that and not have to suffer the calamity that this world has. And then there's people who are good, loving people that serve their families well, go to work and just try to do their best, right? And how could God let those people who are bad be magnified and then those who are good suffer of the calamity? And something I was thinking about was the Bible speaks that everyone will get their due reward, that those who do evil and that those who turn and cause harm to others will get their due reward eventually on the day of the Lord. So I myself have struggled with that question of like, God, where were you? And I rest in the fact and the trust that God will give them their due and just penalty one day, and that those who are right in God's eyes will then be able to live eternally with him without that calamity. I know that might be kind of
I
a
get
lot,
that.
but
That's
yeah.
that's I guess from it depends on like the perspective.
Yeah.
I get that. I truly believe God has a plan for everybody, here on this earth. I never understood the whole, take somebody, in times of need, like I would say like a family person, like why take a person who family is still healthy, well, and able-bodied, and their family may be needing. Oh my goodness, two guys just sitting down here. In
Well,
a time of need, when your family might need you the most, that's when God tests you and decides, hey, we're
mm,
going to take away, somebody from your family and test you as much as possible here.
yeah, that's hard.
I guess like I just questioning the actions and the actions of God, sometimes is tough because sometimes it's
Yeah.
like you lose faith and you question like why our family God, why does it have to be us who have to suffer? Why, I get like I wouldn't ever want to put it on anybody else's family, but like is it a test to see how strong-willed our family is it a
Mm,
test to it just questions that'll never be answered just because
yeah, for sure.
we won't. I mean, until if we ever truly do speak to the Lord himself in person or when we go up to heaven, or it's just a matter of will those questions ever be answered. I guess just the not knowing part is what kills me.
Yeah, for sure. I understand
you
that.
know
There's like two things going on in my head, and I'm not thinking that like anything I say is necessarily gonna write anything or maybe spark, but maybe hopefully give you a little bit of hope and peace in the midst of it. Is the first thing I'm thinking about is is Jesus himself, right? We're talking about good people get bad things and bad people get good things. And I think that what the Bible would speak to be true is that Jesus is the only one who's ever been good. He's the only one that's loved people perfectly, and he's the only one who's loved God perfectly. And yet he still got crucified on the cross, the most painful experience that anyone can ever experience, right? Like, you literally die of suffocation over hours. Your hands are nailed to a wooden post, right? Like Jesus, if anyone did not deserve a painful and suffering death, it'd be Jesus, and yet he went through it, right? And at first, the disciples, Jesus' followers, his best friends, his mother, looked upon him and said, what good could come out of this, right? And what ended up happening is Jesus resurrected from the dead and ascended into heaven and took on the punishment of our sin, and now we're able to have a full-on relationship with God because of the work of Jesus, right? And I say that because it's the most important thing that we could ever do in our lives. And then I say it secondly because in the book of Romans, in I believe it's chapter 8, it says, for those who love God, all things work together for good. It doesn't say all things that happen are good, not even that all things come specifically from God. There's a verse in Genesis that says, what the enemy meant for evil, I'll mean for good. And I find a lot of comfort in that, there's a lot of crappy things that happen in this world. Right? But if I were to just fix my eyes on God, and who he is, the person, his character, what he's done for me, and do my best to know him more, every single day, then God will use what happened for good. So like I said, I can't say anything that necessarily makes what's happened to your family and stuff like that necessarily better. Not my intention, right? But may just give you a little bit of peace in the midst of what's happened to Jesus, God in the flesh, God's son, that he suffered what he didn't deserve for our sake, and that God does allow evil in this world to happen, and he uses it to point people back to himself and his goodness and his glory, that we'll get to experience for eternity. So
I actually took a college course. It was called Humanities Credit. One of the questions my teacher asked, do you believe God is almighty, all powerful, and all good? So then he would say, so then why do bad things happen? So he would really get you thinking on you know, okay, if God is as good as he says, why do bad things happen then?
Yeah, 100%. Oh my gosh, there's somebody on me.
I'm taking shots.
Oh, dude, I'm coming.
Holy cow.
Look at his shit.
Oh, let's go, dude.
Oh, you should have thirsted him, buddy.
I think about that question because I've heard that question before and I've been asked it, right? God isn't the one who messed up in evil coming into this world. It was us, right?
Oh. Did I stick him?
No, but I got him.
He's weak.
Which one?
You'll be okay.
So we're the ones who messed up, right? And God gave us free will, and we messed up and we turned from him. It isn't God who's messed up, it's the creation stepped away from him. And then the other thing I think about is when people say, if God is all good and all powerful and all loving, like wouldn't he destroy evil? And the Christian hope is absolutely 100%. He will destroy it in his perfect timing, in which will give him the most amount of glory. When is that? I have absolutely no clue. I just know that it will happen. So like when people are like, oh, you know, why wouldn't God just take away all evil? And Christians literally will say he will, 100%, in his perfect timing.
Yeah, it's just interesting. It's an interesting concept for sure.
No, for sure. And it's a tough question. And I know that the evil things that happen in this world make a lot of people reject a God. And I can, for somewhat, I guess, not agree with it, but empathize with it. Let's go, bro.
Dude, you went off.
Hey, could I pray for you as I gotta head off?
For sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
What's your name, if you don't mind me asking?
Mark.
Mark. Father, just thank you for letting me meet Mark right now. Lord, thank you for letting him share his story with us. Lord, I pray that you give him and his family peace in the midst of, you know, the suffering and the calamity in this world. Lord, I pray that somehow in the midst of it all, it would just glorify you and your son, and that you'd give them a peace that only your son, that you can provide through the work of your son. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you.
Hey,
amen.
Hey, it was great meeting you, bro. I really appreciate you sharing your story and everything.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, see you, bro. Yeah. W game.